Again, you know, we have to assume part of the responsibility ourselves.
That's
the
right.
People, because the country, as the system that we have is the greatest. The government that we have is the greatest. But it's one that has to be watched.
Absolutely.
Constantly.
Jefferson
because
said it.
Freedom, you cannot leave it alone and say, oh, it's going to work, it's there, we have it all the time, it's always going to work. No. You have to fight for it all the time.
Right, all the time. Jefferson said the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. You have to watch it.
And that's what it is.
We have to safeguard it. If we do not preserve it in this election, it can be lost to us forever, because once it's gone, it's gone. It's not something you can retrieve.
And governments, you know, politicians are not stupid people. They go down when they see that, and they see the abundance that's out there, and people, they see the attitude of people that they don't care, they're not interested, they assume that they're going to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Temptation steps in, and we end up where we are now.
You know, it's because of the former generation, the generation of my grandparents and the generation of my parents, that preserved our way of life for us today. It falls to this generation, my generation, to ensure that we do all we can to preserve it for the next. If we fail in that duty, if we fail in that solemn responsibility, then what are we bequeathing? What are we passing on to the next generation? My grandmother, for instance, taught me many lessons. One of the lessons that she taught me on values was that no matter how poor you may be, doesn't mean that you should be a thief. As long as you work, it is honorable to earn your keep. And she taught me the lesson, a biblical lesson of the widow's mite. And in it, where there was a time where everyone had to tithe and give a tenth of their wealth into the pot, as they say. And so Jesus was watching as the rich men came and they were putting a tenth of their wealth into the pot, paying tithes. And came a widow. And all she had was one mite, which is like, let's say, a penny, a coin. And she threw in her last penny into the pot. And Jesus told his disciple, you see that widow? She gave more than everyone here put together.
Even though it was less in value.
Even though it was less, because she gave all of what she had, even though some in her want, in her poverty, and the others gave 10%. A 10% of their abundance. So that lesson always stuck with me. So we can only give as much as we can, and as long as we're giving it our all, then we are giving more than anyone else can be expected of us. And so what we need to do is to pass on these kinds of values to the next generation to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and our way of life. If we become conditioned that the government is going to take care of us from the time we're born to the time we die, then we will no longer be in the United States of America. We will lose our liberties. We will also just become a bunch of mindless robots, tax slaves, working for the government, with an oligarchy ruling over us, right back in full circle why we started this whole revolution in the first place. The United States Constitution and the Declaration of Independence is the greatest monument to human liberty and freedom since the Magna Carta. It's worth keeping, it's worth preserving, it's worth fighting for, it's worth dying for. And I believe that going to the United States Congress with that mindset is the best way that we can do it. And I hope that the people of the 17th Congressional District will come out and vote for me for that. And even the people who are not in the 17th Congressional District will pick up the phone, will hear this message, and talk to people who are. They will pick up the phone and help us to achieve this goal. We are fighting an entrenched mindset, an entrenched politician who is only looking to line the pockets of power and their own prestige. They are not looking out for the people of the 17th. You can't turn around and say that Kraft cheese is the best that we can do in the Bronx. You can't turn around and say that the highest property taxes in the country in Westchester County is the best that we can do. Or the 5th highest property taxes in Rockland County is the best that we can do. I think that we can do better. I think we deserve better. And I'm there to ensure that that happens, sir.
No, as long as we get the right people, we get people like you in there, I think we will do better.